Hello, everyone. It is Sunday, August 22nd, and this is episode 27 of Odds Are, your S&P 500 weekly market forecast. All right, let's take a look at last week and see what happened. So, if you remember from episode 26 last week, I said that I was expecting a breach to the downside, right? So, a breach of the lower breach point, and that I thought that the Bollinger Band ranges were going to provide resistance on the top side, support on the downside, and that we would still end up within the expected settlement range because we had plenty of room for it to go breach to lower and then still stay within that range. And guess what happened? Exactly that, right? So we had a start to the week with a positive note, then things took a turn for the worse, went down, went right past that midline, actually stalled. If you'd notice on the second day on Tuesday, it stopped right around the midline, right, which I did say could provide a little bit of support, but I cited other instances where the market did continue past that midline of the Bollinger Band range, and so it kind of did both, right? So it stopped there on Tuesday, then Wednesday it just went right past it, went down on Thursday. We had a low, actually breaching a little bit below the low end of the Bollinger Band range, which then acted as support. And then we bounced back up towards that midline, which I said in the beginning of the week was going to act as kind of like a magnet. So everything played out according to the numbers, the forecast, the odds were in our favor, and sure enough, that's exactly how it played out, which is awesome, right? Because it gives us renewed confidence in the forecast. It gives us renewed confidence in the numbers, and we can see how these things play out and why it is that we have such high odds of these things, right? When you see things that have an 80% chance of happening or a 79% chance of happening, you start asking yourself like, wow, that's actually a pretty good edge when you consider that Vegas typically only has like anywhere between like a 1 and 2% edge on you. So if they can make millions off that, imagine what you can do with an 80% edge. But let's hop into the moving averages now. All right, so moving averages, we're used to seeing nothing but green on this screen, but you'll notice that we are now neutral on the short term. So last week's downward price action was enough to flip that to a neutral rating. Still not bearish yet, but if things were to continue downward, then the logical progression would be that the short term would turn bearish, then the medium term would turn neutral, and so on and so forth. But we will see. If we stay kind of in the range where we're at right now, we could stay with a neutral rating on the short term, and things would just kind of stagnate for a sec. All right, let's put all the numbers that we are expecting for next week. Here we go on the screen. So we are expecting breach points, right, of 43.62 on the downside and 44.91 to the top side. And odds are 81.23% that we will breach one of those two levels. Then we've got odds of 79.07 that we will stay within the expected settlement range of 43.12 to 45.11. And then the parabolic SAR is now up at 42.75, still trailing, still outside of the expected settlement range, but every week we're just watching it go up and up and up, and makes sense, right? Because if the market's going up, then that parabolic stop should be trailing and keeping pace with the numbers, which it does seem to be doing. All right, let's wrap this all together into the relative view for next week. There you go. You can see where all those those points are in relation to the market in the last couple of weeks, and you can see that we are kind of where we left off. We're not right above the midline now of that Bollinger Band, so we have plenty of room on either side. Take a look at the breach point. Now the upper breach point is just above the upper Bollinger Band range, right? So the blue line, and then the lower breach point is just below the lower edge of the Bollinger Band. Kind of interesting, right? So we're seeing this, and this is going to be one of those weeks where we're going to have, still 80% chance that we're going to reach one of those 2 points. But we have to factor into play that, we may be getting some, like we said, resistance on the top side or support on the downside from that Bollinger Band, and that may throw a little bit of a kink into the mix, right? I don't think it's going to matter. I think that we're still going to get a breach. I think that last week's roller coaster ride is not done yet. I think that we still have some figuring out to do, and the market's going to go one way or the other. I don't think that we're going to go this week without having a breach. At this point, though, however, unlike last week, I am not going to say that I am seeing a breach of either the top or the downside specifically, rather a more neutral rating saying that, it could easily go either way. And then the expected settlement range being on the outside, so that still looks good. not expecting to close below the 42.75, although stranger things have happened. All right. If you didn't see that one coming. All right, guys, I really hope that at some point, you either were able to catch one of these episodes or share it with a friend or something like that, because I get excited. I get really passionate about this, and I love it when some of the numbers that come, flashing across my screen, and I get a chance to just go out there. I'm putting myself out there, right? I have no idea what's going to happen next week. All I know is what my numbers are telling me. And the systems that I've created within Microsoft Excel, because, for those of you that don't know, that's what I do, right? So Aria Lab strategically focuses on expert Excel design, development, consulting, dashboards, right? So this is like it's a hobby. It is something that I do personally, and I do have it, professionally, as far as we have a trading account, but this is not what we are selling. So I'm not selling trading advice. I'm not selling trading systems. I'm not selling those things to you guys. I'm just sharing this because I love what I do, and I love, the markets, and I love being able to share this information. So every time we have one of these things where we forecast something very specifically and then it happens, I just hope that someone out there heard that, and I hope that someone was able to take advantage of that, because that would just really, really make my day. So if anybody is able to, share a story, or if anybody has had a chance to actually take me up on some of this advice and acted on it, please share in the comments. Please let me know. That's ultimately what I'm doing this for, is to be able to put that out there and hopefully help somebody out or inspire somebody to do some of their own research and get into this market. All right, and the last thing is the quote of the week. As always, we're going to wrap up with this one. It's by Mr. Alexander Elder, who's a trader and author. And his quote is, "The goal of a successful trader is to make the best trades. Money is secondary." Now, I cannot tell you how long it took me to really, really understand and appreciate this, because you tend to look at it as like a game, right? And so there's a score. And so if you're not winning, if your score is a negative number, or if you're, behind the curve, then you think that you are losing. And that cannot be further from the truth. So when you are trading, you're going to have winning weeks, winning months, losing months. I mean, you may even have a losing year. I'm sorry to tell you, that is what it is. Statistically, you have a possibility. There's always that possibility that you will have losing trades, and that your losers may actually trump your winners. It's part of the game. It's part of the experience. And so if you are able to find fulfillment and happiness in trading, even when you lose money, right? That's what's going to help you break through to the point where you will be making money. And so that's why you have to separate those things. Money is secondary. If you just focus on the money, if you're very, very, very lucky, then you may, have some success in trading. But more often than not, the people that are just worried about the money end up being pretty crappy traders. Guys, learn the market, learn the process, have fun. It's a puzzle. It's a mystery. A lot of smart people out there, making bets and trading in this market, and you are in a big ocean. But you find your niche, you find what works for you, and if it's a mental challenge and it pushes you to be better, then guess what? That has value in and of itself, even if your P&L went the wrong way. And then eventually it'll turn around for you. I have all the confidence in the world in that, all the confidence in the world in you guys. So enjoy your week, have fun, learn something new, and I'll see you guys here next Sunday.